Greetings. I am Legacy Moon, and this is True Crime and Mysteries. Let us first address the elephant in the room, my voice. I am having some respiratory issues going on, but I will forge through, so please forgive me. Welcome back, current subscribers, new subscribers. Welcome to those of you who listen but are not subscribers, and those of you who are here for the very first time. Welcome to everyone. Now let's get into it. I am here on this great Thursday evening to let my brothers and sisters know that there is something nefarious going on in the Lord's church. This right here is 56-year-old Whitney Foster. Now, he goes by Bishop Whitney Foster. I cannot confirm or deny whether or not he is really a bishop, let alone a pastor. However, I can tell you that his flock is known as the True Foundation Non-Denominational Church, and it is in Dallas, Texas, and that is where we are going to be. We are going to be in Texas. So here we have the bishop. He's got the title. He's got the congregation. He has everything. But the one thing that he needed was an actual physical place to worship. Now, he achieved his goal of getting that foundation for his church to meet in through fraudulent property deeds, and all other kinds of forged documents. He did this not one, not two, but 3 times. Or I should say he was prosecuted for doing this 3 times. I can remember many moons ago when I was the church board secretary and we were looking for a new church home. I remember all of the things that we had to do. I mean, the board, we would meet and, there was executors on the board who voted right along with the pastor. And I mean, everything that we did or that was done in looking for this church consisted of the pastor meeting with the deacons and then everybody meeting with the board. And after the board approved or gave their opinions on whatever decisions were being made, then it would be presented to the congregation. There had to be like 3 signatures of 3 different people on everything. I mean, I just don't understand how this man was able to do this multiple times. And as I said, they convicted him of 3 times. However, it's many more. The interesting thing about when I started working on this, I started finding clips. So what I am going to do is I'm going to show 2 clips, and I'm not going to show them back to back, but this clip that I'm getting ready to insert is the pastor of one of the churches that he took in her journey to get it back. And this video that I'm posting up now, I believe was 4 years ago. So let's get into that.
4 years ago, the First Christian Church of Lancaster found out they no longer owned their church property. Someone named Whitney Foster now owned it. Foster was set to go to trial last week on a theft charge, until he wasn't.
4 times, 4 dates, 4 times getting ready, and no trial yet.
It's the 4th time his trial's been delayed.
Whitney Foster should have already faced justice.
In 2019, church members found this deed transferring the property to Foster for $10.
We couldn't believe at that time that someone was able to just go and take your property.
Foster talked to us by phone in 2021. He told us he wrote a $10 check for the property. Tell me how you think legally you can acquire a property that way.
Because, listen, the church is community property. I was going to open up a church there.
First Christian got their property back in 2021. Now Foster's scheduled for trial sometime next year.
My congregation has had it, and me too. When a date is set now, we go, yeah, right.
According to court documents, the bishop listed his church as the guarantee in his own name. The value of the 3 properties that he's been prosecuted for and convicted totaled more than $800,000. And here are the names of the churches that he was convicted of illegally obtaining. And this is in no particular order, but we have the First Christian Church, Second Canada Drive Christian Church, and Church at Nanvea. Now, 2 out of those 3 churches are still listed in the bishop's name. According to prosecutors, the congregation is still meeting at one of the properties, and the 3rd property remains embroiled in legal complications because of the pastor's actions. And when I said congregation, let's be clear, it is Bishop Foster's congregation still meeting in the church, not the original owners of the church.
A Facebook page says Foster is the pastor of True Foundation Non-Denominational Church. Here he is preaching and singing in this recent video.
So you descendants of Jacob, you are not destroyed. Yeah.
Bidding provided us a copy of a $10 check he wrote and she says he put in the offering plate. The memo line says donation.
I cannot imagine the audacity of this gentleman to come and worship with us like he did one Sunday morning before he stole the property through this quick deed.
We reached Foster by phone. Mr. Foster? We told him we wanted to talk to him about his purchase of First Christian Church. Was your $10 check to buy the property?
Yes, the $10 check to buy the property.
So tell me how you think legally you can acquire a property that way with $10. I'm just curious how that works.
Because, listen, the church is community property. Anytime a church is about it wasn't written about it. Our church was getting it. I was going to open up a church there.
Foster told us he'd done nothing wrong, a claim he has made to Lancaster Police. According to police records obtained by WFA, Foster confirmed he signed the document sent to him by the church's attorney acknowledging the deed was completed fraudulently.
When that detective called me, I told him, yes, sir, I turned it back over. Fine. I signed it back over. I wanted my $10 check back. That's all I asked for.
The DA's office says the vast majority of deed fraud occurs when people file in person at the county clerk's office. Legislation has passed in the Texas House and is now pending in the Senate that would make this type of crime much more difficult.
All Texans ought to enjoy the protections to make sure that they're not defrauded of their property or deeds are not changed without their knowledge.
Dallas Representative Yvonne Davis's bill will allow county clerks to require anyone presenting a deed in person to provide photo identification. It'll also give county clerks the ability to refuse to certify and file the document if the person doesn't show their ID.
I think that it might give some people pause, and they may just decide not to file that fraudulent deed.
He prays.
On a recent Sunday, Bidding offered up prayers.
And today we lift up one who is now in the justice system to you,
including one for Whitney Foster.
We ask that you touch Mr. Foster's heart and that you bring him back to a life that is worthy of a Christian minister.
In February 2020, a judge signed an order reinstating First Christian Church as the rightful owner of the property.
I'm not exactly sure what disturbs me the most. I don't know if it is him calling himself a man of God and illegally obtaining a church to worship in, or the fact that he felt like he can do it. Doesn't that scare you with some people, how they do certain things and you're wondering, what is wrong with them? How is it that, what's going on in the conscious mind that allows someone to think that they can do something like this? I still can't get over the man saying he wanted his $10 back. Okay, if I give the church back, I want my $10. But anyway, the jury was presented evidence of 7 additional fraudulent properties that was obtained by the bishop. That means that this man has done this 10 times that they know of. And let me not forget to add that Whitney Foster has previous convictions for identity theft and arson. Prosecutor Philip Clark said that property ownership is the bedrock of our society. It provides security, a home, a place to love and welcome each other. It also represents a very active It also represents a very active part of our economy, both in terms of buying, selling, and renting property, as well as property taxes that support everything our government does for the citizens of Dallas County. He further goes on to say that deed fraud cases are not simply disputes. They are lies and fraud. They are theft, and they are deeply damaging. I am so grateful that the jury saw the truth in this case and held the defendant to account.
A Dallas pastor will spend 35 years in prison for stealing 3 churches in Dallas County. Whitney Foster created fraudulent deeds for those churches, taking control of the properties. But prosecutors say they have evidence he illegally took control of additional properties. Fox Sports' Peyton Yeager spoke to a prosecutor on the case and joins us now live. Peyton.
Heather, and First Christian Church of Lancaster is the first church that really sounded the alarm back in 2019. Once Lancaster police brought the case here to the Dallas County District Attorney's Office, investigators uncovered that Foster was tied to other churches here in the county. A Dallas County jury sentenced 56-year-old Whitney Foster to 35 years in prison for stealing real estate from 3 churches in both Dallas and Lancaster. Last month, the Dallas pastor was found guilty of felony theft after filing fraudulent deeds to take the 3 properties valued at more than $800,000.
What he wanted people to think was that because he was a nonprofit, that he had the ability, the right, to just move in on another nonprofit's property.
Dallas County Assistant District Attorney Philip Clark says First Christian Church of Lancaster was the first church to take notice back in 2019. According to this arrest warrant affidavit, the church told police someone named Aaron Finley claimed to be the chairman of the Lancaster church and sold the property to Foster for $10. There was no one on the board named Aaron Finley. Clark tells Fox 4 Foster testified he thought the Lancaster church was abandoned even after he attended a Sunday service and spoke with the church's leadership.
And then lo and behold, days later, they find that he's filed this deed.
Investigators uncovered Foster's fraudulent scheme was also tied to 2 Dallas churches, Church at Nineveh and Canada Drive Church. As of Monday, both churches are in Foster or his church's name. Foster's congregation, True Foundation Non-Denominational Church, is still actively gathering on Canada Drive. We asked Clark What does he believe were Foster's intentions?
I have to assume that it's ambition. I have to assume that he's wanting to grow a congregation. He was just taking it upon himself to take property from other people, and he completely upended and disrupted other congregations.
Before all of this, Clark says Foster's small congregation did not have a physical place to gather. It took First Christian Church of Lancaster years to recover ownership. However, it's still trying to fix the problems Foster created.
If you own a home or any property, pay attention, take care of it, monitor it. And if something comes along your radar that looks problematic, act on it.
So the three churches that we named, those were the three churches that were used to indict Foster. Now, during the punishment phase, prosecutors presented 7 additional fraudulent deeds that were tied to Foster. So Heather and Steve, that is 10 properties in total. Foster does plan to appeal.
I thank you for listening. And once again, I am Legacy Moon, and if you are not subscribed to me, go on up and hit that subscribe button. Make it happen. Tap the notification bell. Tell a friend, tell a foe, and most of all, share my video. Bars. Anyway, and as I always do, please make sure you thumbs up this video to keep me in Al's rhythm. That's the algorithm.